number 30, and Adrian is wearing the old number he wore in San Diego. He drives one into deep right field, right down the line in the corner, three-run home run. Welcome to the Dodgers. And it is 4-1 Dodgers.
Say it ain't so. Adrian Gonzalez, in his first at-bat as a Los Angeles Dodger, hits one out down the right field line. You just heard it live from one of the best broadcasters of all time, Vin Scully. Welcome in. It's Chris's Corner on a Saturday night. It's about 8 o'clock here on the West Coast and 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and whatever time somewhere else that you might be. But thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris Sylvester. I'm your host. Got to get my Twitter thing in every show. At MLB Insider Chris on Twitter. Shoot me a follow. I'll shoot you a follow back. I'm at the stage where I'm a little bit desperate for follows. I'll be one of those follow back people. So, wow. Adrian Gonzalez, right off the bat. I mean, we didn't even know if he was gonna play with the Dodgers tonight or if this trade was gonna go down this weekend. When we went to sleep last night. But we woke up and we found out that Josh Beckett and Carl Crawford had approved the trade. Both of them had no trade type clauses in their contracts, but of course, both are now, along with Gonzalez, members of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we're going to bring in Travis Neff. Travis, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing just fine, Chris.
We're going to have him on a little bit later in the show, going over the wild card standings, and he's a big expert in the National League, about the National League Central Division, has been covering the Cardinals for about 4 years now, so we're very excited to have him on the show. When we get back, we're going to discuss the specifics of the Adrian Gonzalez to LA deal, along with Beckett, along with Crawford, along with Nick Punto, don't forget him, and a lot more when we get back to Chris's Corner on a Saturday night. You're listening to Chris's Corner on Spreaker.com. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Chris Sylvester on Spreaker.com. Before the commercial break, we showed you the audio of Vince Scully calling Adrian Gonzalez's first at-bat as a Dodger, and sure enough, he hits a home run in his first at-bat. Beckett, we're not sure when he's going to make his first start as a Dodger, but it should be pretty soon, actually, especially with Chad Billingsley going to the 15-day disabled list with elbow discomfort. Something you should watch out for, because Billingsley was red hot over the last couple of weeks, and, you can never mess around with the elbow injuries. You never know if that's going to lead to Tommy John surgery or whatnot. But very excited about covering this trade. You don't see blockbusters go down like this after the trade deadline or not at the winter meetings in the offseason. This was a waiver wire deal, everybody. All these players had to pass through all the teams that are worse than the Dodgers in the National League, and nobody claimed Gonzalez, Crawford, Beckett, or Punto with worse records than the Dodgers. I mean, everything that needed to happen for this trade happened. I mean, there could have been so many scenarios where a team like maybe a team like the Diamondbacks could have put in a claim on Gonzalez and, just messed around and avoided the Dodgers from getting him. But, little did they know the Dodgers were serious about this, and sure enough, the guy is off in his first at-bat in Los Angeles today, hitting a home run in his first at-bat. Crawford, unfortunately for the Dodgers, will not be available until the middle of next season. He underwent Tommy John just this past Thursday, 2 days ago. But the deal went like this. The Dodgers got Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford, Josh Beckett, all at one point in their career all-stars. They also got Nick Punto, and they finally got rid of James Loney. I know a lot of Dodger fans have been wanting to get rid of Loney for years, not because of his defense, not because he was a terrible hitter, but just because they never had that first baseman who was just a power threat in the lineup, but now they have that in the presence of Gonzalez. Also going to the Red Sox in the deal were minor leaguers Alan Webster, Ivan DeJesus, and two players that will be named officially after the season, pitchers Ruby De La Rosa and outfielder Jerry Sands, who spent some time with the ball club. Actually, De La Rosa just optioned to AAA yesterday before the trade went down. The Red Sox also acquired about $11 million, but man, the Dodgers are going to be taking a lot of payroll, and they're going to be, the four of those players are going to be combined paid for $262.5 million beyond this season throughout the end of their contract. So certainly the Dodgers look that they want to win it all, and they're going for it all. There's a quote from what their co-owner Magic Johnson had to say today, and quote, "We understand that you have to spend money in this league to be good. We understand that before we bought this team. So we're very excited," end quote. So, big things happening with the new ownership. A lot of people thought that the Dodgers would have a lot of money to spend after Frank McCourt officially sold the team, and I mean, gosh, they got Randy Choate, Hanley Ramirez, Brandon League, Joe Blanton, Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, Nick Punto, and now Carl Crawford. And of course Shane Victorino as well, who's kind of the misfit toy, kind of lost in all of this. He's going to be a free agent after the season. There's not a chance in my mind that the Dodgers are going to bring the guy back, because you got Ethier, Kemp in the outfield, and then you're going to have Crawford coming back next season, and you're not going to make a guy like Shane Victorino a fourth outfielder and pay him all the money that he's going to get out there on the open market. So Shane Victorino, a rental. That's what it's looking like at this point, unless they try to take Crawford off their hands. But man, talk about going for it all. Gonzalez, Crawford, and Beckett, and Punto, all to Los Angeles. So, man, look for the Dodgers down the stretch. As we go to the standings now, the Dodgers 3 games back of the San Francisco Giants. 2.5 actually, because they lost today. So they could be 2 by the night's end, and it's looking like that. We'll get to the Dodgers score and the rest of the Major League scores in a second. But Atlanta and St. Louis at the top, and this is where I'm going to bring in Travis Neff of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Travis, the Cardinals have overtaken the Dodgers, they've overtaken the Pirates, and they're right on the Braves' tail. What has sparked this team in the last couple of weeks to provoke this, spectacular play? It's looking a lot like last season where they made a charge and won the World Series. I mean, what has just gone right for this team over the last couple of weeks?
Well, what's gone right has been the improvement in the bullpen. The pickup of Mujica has vastly improved. Motts has looked a lot better. And the offense has looked better lately. Craig has been on fire. He's hitting over 400 with runners in scoring position. And they have just looked more lively. They have a tough road trip ahead. 10 games against the Reds, Pirates, and Nats. So it'll be a tough one. And they got to, I'd say, win at least 6 or 7 of them to keep it going. They have to stay on the Reds' tail, keep up with Atlanta, and stay ahead of the Dodgers and Pirates.
Well, that's certainly good input you have there. They do lead the Dodgers and Pittsburgh by just 1 game, and that's, if the Dodgers hold on to this lead, it's only going to be a half game by the end of the night. Say it does stay the way it is, Atlanta and St. Louis. Do you like the Cardinals' chances going up head-to-head with the Braves in a 1-game playoff?
I actually do, because the Atlanta early in the season had a powerful pitcher in Brandon Beachy, but due to Tommy John, he is out for the rest of the season, and I'm not afraid of any of they don't have an overpowering ace that scares me like some teams like Tampa Bay and David Price playing in the American League wildcard playing game.
Definitely, I definitely agree with you on that statement, and we're seeing not a collapse of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They did win tonight, but they are 4-6 in their last 10 games. They are coming off a sweep they're coming off of getting swept against the San Diego Padres. Do you think Pittsburgh is going to stay with St. Louis? Or do you think, St. Louis and Pittsburgh are going to slowly start separating themselves from each other as we come down the stretch here?
Well, I do not think Pittsburgh is going to be able to stay with the pack. They don't have an experienced team that has ever been in this situation before. I think the same thing is going to happen that happened last year, where they fall off at the end of the season and just seemed like a wasted season. They played so well early, and then it all went down the drain. However, the Dodgers look very good. They've picked up almost, 10 people now since the trade deadline, and they have a very scary offense, and if their pitching's on, they are a very good team.
You do talk about the Dodgers now. We were talking before in the meeting before the show how you thought it's ridiculous how these teams are handing the Dodgers players. I mean, what's your opinion of what the Dodgers have done? Mixing and matching and wheeling and dealing so far at this trade period at this time of the season.
Well, I think they must have a GM that everyone seems to like, because it seems like everyone's just giving them players. I mean, they got Hanley and Choate for Uvalde and some minor leaguers, and then they got Blanton and Victorino from the Phillies for not very much either, and now they're claiming people off waivers for another group of prospects, but they're not really having to give up anyone that is an impact player on their team, and they are acquiring a great deal of players that have been very good in the past and should contribute greatly to the Dodgers offense and pitching staff.
Well, you do bring up a good point there. I mean, my argument with the Los Angeles Dodgers, even after they got guys like Victorino and Hanley and Blanton, was they don't have a solid number 2 starter. Now they get Josh Beckett. What does that bring to the table in a 5-game series in the postseason? I mean, how much? I mean, you're probably eliminating Chad Billingsley out of the group. He's not going to be activated before September 1st. So Chad Billingsley is not going to be eligible for the playoffs. But you have Kershaw, Beckett, a guy who's been on and off like Capuano. I mean, does this Dodgers rotation scare you in the playoffs? Or, I mean, do you see them, if they get into the playoffs, as a World Series threat, a team that could very well sneak up on a lot of teams and, just go on this run at the end of the season and win it all?
I do not see them as a World Series threat. However, I see them as a National League Championship threat, because they can win a 5-game series, because Kershaw and Beckett will be able to throw at least 3 games in a 5-game series. You only need to win 3 to make it through that. However, in a 7-game series, they're probably going to have to go with a 4-man rotation. I've not seen Kershaw throw on 3 days rest very often and throw in pressure situations in the playoffs. So I do think they'd have to go with a 4-man rotation in a 7-game series, and I do think they would lose when Kershaw and Beckett are not pitching in the playoffs. So they do not scare me in a 7-game series in the World Series.
That's a good point there, and obviously, there's always next year for this team, because they got Kershaw locked up for a little bit, they got Kemp locked up for a long time, they got Gonzalez locked up for a long time, they just locked up Ethier, and Beckett's still under contract for a while, same with Crawford. I mean, this is a team that you don't see a baseball dynasty too often, and I don't think they're going to become a dynasty in means of World Series championships, but I think they have a chance to legitimately win 5 straight National League West titles. Do you agree with me on that? Like, they have a good... don't discount the San Francisco Giants. They are a very good team. Arizona... one thing I can tell you about Arizona is that their potential rotation for next year is darn scary. They could put... When all these guys are on, this might be one of the best rotations in the Major League Baseball. You look at Ian Kennedy, second place in the Cy Young Award last year. You have a guy like Daniel Hudson, who was very good last year, is out this year with Tommy John. You have a guy like Patrick Corbin, who's been a solid rookie. You have Tyler Skaggs, who the Diamondbacks got from the Angels in the Dan Herron trade. And you also have Trevor Bauer, who's one of the most highly rated prospects there is. I'm not discounting the Diamondbacks. I'm not discounting the Giants. But do you think that the Dodgers have a chance to own this division, per se, in the next 5-6 years?
I do. They remind me a lot of the Angels in this sense that the Angels, this was supposed to be their year. They got Pujols, they got Wilson, they got Greinke. However, they're going to have Pujols for another 10 years. They're going to have Wilson for a while. They could re-sign Greinke and have him for a while. They have Weaver for a little while. They have Trout and Trumbo for a little while. So they remind me a lot of the Angels. And the Giants this year, they were sparked with Melky. They're playing a lot better now that Posey is doing a lot more in the offense. But Melky sparked this team. He was having a career year only because, a lot of people say only because he was on PEDS. He has not had the career numbers that he's put up this year, and I think that's why the Giants are doing well this year. However, next year they'll have solidification in their